The house was silent until a rhythmic thud-thud-thud from the yard pulled the man from his sleep. Beside him, his wife didn't stir. He crept to the window, then hurried outside, his heart racing. There stood Emily, their 5-year-old, tossing a ball against the side of the house in the pitch black. "Emily, what are you doing?" "It's 3 in the morning," he hissed. The girl didn't look up. "My big sister said it was my turn to play," she whispered. "You don't have a sister," he snapped. Emily finally turned, her face pale and her eyes unnaturally dark. "Mommy told me she gave her to the river a long time ago," she said, her voice dropping an octave. "She said the river was hungry, but now the river is full. It sent her back to get the rest of us." The man felt a cold hand slip into his. He looked down, expecting Emily, but Emily was still standing 10 feet away, smiling. He looked at the hand holding his. It was blue, dripping with river water, and the skin was sloughing off. From the dark doorway of the house, his wife appeared, her eyes wide with terror. "That's not Emily, Arthur," she screamed. "Emily is upstairs in bed. Look at what you let into the yard." The creature holding his hand looked up at him with Emily's face, but with a mouth full of jagged, river-worn stones. "We're a family again, Daddy." Years ago, a young girl drowned in the Blackwater River. Her mother, consumed by grief, knelt in the mud for 3 days, begging the water for a return. But the river is a merchant, not a god. It whispered back, "A life for a life." That night, a neighbor's child vanished. By sunrise, the daughter's body floated to the surface, her skin cracked and decayed like wet stone. The village thought it was a tragedy. Only the mother knew it was a trait. Arthur wakes to a rhythmic thud, thud, thud coming from the backyard. Beside him, his wife, Sarah, sleeps with a stillness that feels like a trance. Arthur creeps outside and finds their 5-year-old daughter, Emily, playing alone in the dark. "Arthur, Emily, it's the middle of the night. Go back to bed." "Emily, I can't, Daddy. My big sister says the river is finally empty. She wants to come home." "Arthur, you don't have a sister, Emily. You never did." Emily turns around. Her eyes are hollow pits of river silt. "Emily, Mommy told me. She gave her to the water when she was in college. She traded a soul to get one back. But the trade is expiring, Daddy." Suddenly, the back door creaks open. Sarah stands there, trembling, holding an old, water-stained photograph of a girl who looks exactly like Emily, but from 30 years ago. "Sarah, Arthur, get away from her. I didn't trade for a life. I just rented one." A second Emily, dripping wet, covered in river weeds, and with a mouth full of jagged stones, crawls over the fence. Both Emilys look at Arthur and speak in unison. "The river is hungry again, and it likes the way you taste, Daddy." The backyard is silent as the two Emilys, one dry and hollow-eyed, the other a rotting specter from the river, slowly close in on Arthur. Sarah screams from the porch, but her voice sounds muffled, as if she is underwater. The wet Emily drops a heavy, slime-covered stone at Arthur's feet. It isn't a stone. It's a weathered grave marker with the neighbor's son who vanished 30 years ago. Arthur stumbles back, his flashlight beam hitting the fence. Beyond the wood, he sees dozens of pairs of glowing eyes. The neighbors aren't coming to help. They are watching. Old Man Miller, who lost his son decades ago, stands at the edge of the property, holding a rusted sickle. "Arthur, Miller, help me. What are these things?" "Miller, we all knew what Sarah did. We let her keep that thing because as long as the river had her daughter's soul, it left our children alone. But the debt has come due, Arthur. The river wants its interest." Sarah grabs Arthur's arm and pulls him toward the old storm cellar. As they bolt inside and slide the bolt, the scratching on the wood begins, not from fingers, but from hundreds of smooth river stones being dragged against the grain. Inside the dark cellar, the air smells of stagnant water. "Sarah, it wasn't just my trade, Arthur. Look," she shines a light into the corner. The basement floor is gone, replaced by a dark, swirling pool of river water that shouldn't be there. Floating in the center is a small, wooden cradle. A voice comes from the water, the cold, distant voice of the girl from the first story. "Mother gave me a body, but the neighbors gave me a home. Now, I need a father to pull the cradle back to the deep." The dry Emily is already inside the cellar with them. She isn't looking at Arthur anymore. She is looking at the water. She smiles, revealing that her teeth have turned into the same jagged river stones. The basement is filling with icy, silt-heavy water. Arthur stands on the last dry step, holding Sarah back as the dry Emily walks calmly into the dark pool toward the floating cradle. Her pajamas trail behind her like seaweed. Arthur, Emily, stop. Get away from the water. Sarah, it's too late, Arthur. The cradle isn't for a baby. It's an anchor. As the water rises, images begin to shimmer on the surface of the pool, visions of the past. Arthur sees the village 100 years ago. The crops were dying, and the river had dried to a trickle. He sees the town elders gathering at the riverbed, making a pact with a tall, faceless figure draped in rotted fishing nets. The ghostly voice. The river only flows when it is fed, one soul every 30 years to keep the valley green. Your wife didn't just rent a life, Arthur. She volunteered our family to be the next guardians of the dead. The wet Emily rises from the pool, but she is no longer a small child. She is a towering, elongated version of the daughter Arthur knew, her limbs like gnarled driftwood. She reaches out a hand that is webbed with thick, black veins. Outside, the neighbors begin to hum a low, dissonant tune, their voices vibrating through the floorboards. Arthur, I won't let you take her. He grabs a heavy iron wrench and swings at the creature, but his hand passes through her like mist. The creature doesn't attack. She leans in and whispers into his ear. The creature, I don't want her, Father. I want the one who promised me. I want the mother. Arthur looks back at Sarah. Her skin is already turning the same gray, cracked color as the girl in the first video. Sarah isn't screaming anymore. She looks at her hands, which are dripping with a black, oily substance. Sarah, the 30 years are up, Arthur. I'm not your wife anymore. I'm the river's next bride. She steps into the water, and as she sinks, the dry Emily turns back into a normal little girl, waking up on the basement steps, shivering and confused. But when Arthur looks into the water, he sees Sarah's face staring back from beneath the surface, her eyes replaced by smooth, black river stones. The basement water recedes as quickly as it rose, leaving behind a thick layer of black silt and the smell of rotting lilies. Arthur sits on the stairs, clutching a shivering, human Emily. Sarah is gone. Where she sank, only a single, perfectly round river stone remains on the concrete floor. Arthur carries Emily out of the house. The sun is beginning to bleed over the horizon, but the village is transformed. Every lawn is lush and unnaturally green. Every flower is in hyperbloom. The neighbors stand on their porches in total silence, watching Arthur. They are no longer holding tools. They are smiling, a wide, collective, porcelain smile. Arthur, you let this happen. You watched her take her. Old Man Miller. The valley will drink for another 30 years, Arthur. You should be proud. Your wife saved the harvest. Arthur drives Emily away, vowing never to return. They stop at a gas station miles away. Arthur goes to the bathroom to wash the river mud from his face. As he splashes water on his skin, he looks into the mirror. Behind his reflection, the shower curtain ripples. A pale, wet hand grips the edge. The voice of the sister. You can leave the valley, Father, but the river flows through your blood now. Arthur looks down at the sink. The water coming out of the faucet isn't clear. It's dark, muddy river water. He looks at his own hands and sees the skin beginning to crack, just like the girl in the first video. He runs back to the car to check on Emily. She is sitting quietly, staring at the river stone Arthur found in the basement. She looks up at him, her eyes turning into that familiar, hollow black. She holds the stone out to him. Emily, Mommy says she's lonely. She wants to know if you're coming for a swim. Outside, despite being miles from the valley, the sound of a rushing river begins to drown out the sound of the car engine. The screen fades to black as the sound of a heavy splash echoes. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe for tales like this.